Welcome to Time Team's roundup of fantastic archaeological discoveries that have come to our attention during 2021. Now, all archaeology is an important part of the jigsaw puzzle that helps us to understand the past, and we couldn't possibly mention everything here, so please do share your thoughts in the comments section below. Now, without further ado, join us on a whistle-stop tour of amazing archaeology from 2021. Firstly, Time Team is back. The iconic show returns to film two brand new excavations, a huge Roman villa in Oxfordshire and an Iron Age settlement in Cornwall with underground tunnels known locally as the Fugu. We've already taken you behind the scenes here and on Patreon, and the programmes are currently in post-production, coming to this channel in spring, so thank you for bearing with us, and we can promise you, you are in for a real treat. Lost monastery of Anglo-Saxon Queen rediscovered. In the summer of 2021, a team of archaeologists from the University of Reading, led by Dr. Gabor Thomas, discovered the Anglo-Saxon monastery at Cookham on the banks of the River Thames. I caught up with Dr. Thomas to find out more about the abbey and the famous abbess, King Offa's wife, Queen Sinithre.
Yeah, I mean, all the indications are that she wielded a considerable amount of power in her own right. It's notoriously difficult to find early medieval settlement archaeology. So, you know, when you do find it in the way that we've been able to in Cookham, it really is a welcome sort of surprise, because you never really expect it. You may have a hunch, but you never really expect it.
Bronze Age coffin on a golf course. In autumn, Historic England revealed details of a Bronze Age coffin, and it had been discovered on a pond on a golf course in Lincolnshire. The coffin is about 4,000 years old, and it's made from hollowed out oak tree trunk. The remains include a stone axe complete with a wooden haft, which is a very unusual find, and it's only survived because it was in a waterlogged deposit. These wonderful finds are currently undergoing conservation before going on public display. Wooden carving from Ireland. Speaking of wooden items preserved in waterlogged deposits, there's a brilliant discovery in Ireland of a 1,600-year-old object carved from an oak tree in County Roscommon, Western Ireland. It's about 2.5 metres tall, and the top of it was carved into the shape of a human head, and there are 9 notches on the body which may represent a rib cage, and it would have stood upright in the ground. It's currently being conserved at University College Dublin, and it will go on display at the National Museum of Ireland. Dugout canoe. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in Wisconsin, USA, is another amazing discovery of a preserved wooden object. This 1,200-year-old dugout canoe was discovered at the bottom of Lake Mendota by a maritime archaeologist whilst out diving. The canoe was recovered by Wisconsin Historical Society and a team of volunteers, including members of the state's Native American tribes. The wood has been radiocarbon dated to 1,200 years old, and it's most likely to be a fishing canoe as it was discovered intact with fishing gear inside it. And these are the net sinkers which would anchor to the bottom end of a net or anchor a fishing line. What an extraordinary find. BLICK MEAD. In the summer, I caught up with Professor David Jakes from the University of Buckingham to discuss the excavations he's leading at BLICK MEAD near Stonehenge. This is a fantastic site. It's much earlier than Stonehenge itself, and it dates back to a staggering 10,000 years ago, to the Mesolithic period.
Hunter-gatherers were living in and around BLICK MEAD. At the same time, the first farmers were coming over from continental Europe and were in the area. And that's unique for for England and arguably for Britain.
The site centres around a spring which has really unusual properties because it turns stones bright pink. And I think that's something that would have been noted by people who were visiting the spring during the Mesolithic period.
Yeah, you've got this algae called Hildenbrandia rivellaris, which coats the flint. It happens because if you're in dappled light, you have to have very still water, and that water has to have a lot of iron in it. And when you take it out, it reacts to oxygen. To have something like, it almost it's like an effervescent pink. It's amazing, bright colour, and it must have caught people's eye.
And now for a bit of above ground archaeology. As you know, Time Team love historic buildings, not just digging holes. And earlier in the summer, we caught up with Dr. Richard Parker to discuss Devon farmhouses. Richard has been involved with a great project being run by one of Time Team's dendrochronologists, Dr. Andy Moyer. Based in Gloucestershire, the project has been examining timber-framed buildings in Newent, Tewkesbury and the city of Gloucester. Some of the buildings have turned out to be much older than previously thought, and there are now 3 amazing walking trails which highlight the buildings that were studied and with their new dendrochronology dates. There'll be workshops, talks and other events planned for people who'd like to get involved in this project in 2022. 2 other great community archaeology projects we caught up with in 2021 were the Roots for Roots project with archaeologist John Freeman in southwest England. And over on our Patreon channel in April, we caught up with the Save Weems Ancient Cave Society to hear about their new visitor centre and their fantastic 4D model of the landscape. It was great to hear about the new developments since Time Team excavated there many years ago. The Dig. In December, Time Team announced an exciting ongoing project at Sutton Hoo, subject of the recent Netflix film The Dig, starring Ralph Fiennes and Carey Mulligan as Basil Brown and Edith Pretty. Working in partnership with the National Trust, Time Team is surveying an ancient Anglo-Saxon royal burial ground using state-of-the-art geophysics and photogrammetry technology, shedding new light on one of the UK's most important archaeological sites. Time Team is also working with Sutton Hoo's ship company to film the reconstruction of the incredible boat at the centre of this story. So please subscribe to this channel and press the notification bell to ensure you catch up with all the latest updates. Polished stone spheres. Announced in September, another find of note were 2 5,500-year-old polished stone spheres discovered at one of Scotland's most ancient monuments, a Neolithic burial tomb on the Orkney island of Sanday. We hope to catch up with Professor Vicky Cummins from the University of Lancaster in 2022 to tell us more about this. Finds on a Welsh island. In March, on the tiny island of Stockholm off the Pembrokeshire coast in Wales, wardens of the island spotted archaeological finds being burrowed by rabbits. These include a 9,000-year-old Mesolithic beveled pebble tool and a 3,750-year-old sherd of pottery. Roman villa mosaic discovery. An amazing lockdown discovery, first discovered in 2020 by the landowner's son Jim Irvin. This led to excavations in the summer of 2021 by the University of Leicester. This truly is an epic mosaic. It features designs based on stories from the ancient Greek epic poem the Iliad, focusing on the Greek hero Achilles and the Trojan prince Hector. It's completely unique, as it's the first mosaic ever discovered in Britain to depict scenes from the Iliad. I caught up with archaeologist John Thomas at the University of Leicester to find out more about this amazing mosaic.
Yeah, so this fantastic discovery story, really, it's quite a classic. In my career, this is only the second site that I've known that has been discovered in this way, that has become scheduled, and that's 30 years worth of working.
St Eanswyth. The discovery of what are highly likely the bones of Anglo-Saxon St Eanswyth had everyone on the edge of their seats. Okay, so this was actually discovered in 2020, but it really didn't get the attention that it should have due to the onset of coronavirus. So in June 2021, I caught up with Dr. Andrew Richardson, who told me all about his fascinating discovery and the excitement and trepidation he felt when opening the email with the results of that all-important radiocarbon date.
So we said, if this is St Eanswyth, we don't want to take her out of the church. So we bring the laboratory to the church. So we set up a lab in the church.
Wow.
And we got the box out, the container, we got the bones out, and we laid the bones out on the table in the vestry. And then I had to wait for probably about 6 weeks for the radiocarbon dates to come through. And it was a worrying time because, or anything other than 7th century, that's it, it's not her. And then you've taken your hometown's parish church that's got its saint and established that no, it hasn't got its saint. So could have gone either way. Yeah. And I sat at this desk and the email popped through one day. I was on my own in the office and it said, here's your radiocarbon dates. So I opened it up and my God, it's bang on.
Wow.
It's mid 7th century. It's absolutely spot on. So, we've got a documentary paper trail from Anglo-Saxon sources right through the Middle Ages that puts her relics in that church. And then we've got a concealed in an 8th to 9th century lead container the bones of a young adult, almost certainly female, who died in the mid 7th century. I can't actually think of a more plausible alternative explanation for why that person is there other than that is St Eanswyth.
I hope you've enjoyed reminiscing with me. It's been a great year for Time Team, filming the 2 new programmes that we look forward to sharing with you in the spring, and the exciting announcement that Time Team are teaming up with the National Trust at Sutton Hoo. In the meantime, thank you for supporting us and a very happy new year from everyone here at Time Team. Here's to a great 2022 and many more exciting archaeological discoveries.
To ensure you catch all the latest updates, please do subscribe to this channel, follow us on social media, sign up to our newsletter, and join us on Patreon.